Alright, hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name is Curtis, and today we're going to be talking about masterpiece fragrances. So these are fragrances that, in my opinion, are masterpieces. You may agree or you may not agree with them in terms of them being masterpieces, and that's okay. But for me, these are fragrances that I consider to be masterpieces, and I'm absolutely in love with them. So if you're curious to see the fragrances that I've chosen, then let's go. So first up, from the house of Nishane, we have Sultan Vetiver. So yeah, this was really difficult in terms of picking a Nishane fragrance that I consider to be a masterpiece, because there are actually a few within Nishane that I consider actual masterpieces. But as you guys know, and if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge Vetiver lover. So, you know, I had to go with Sultan Vetiver because it is just, in my opinion, just an amazing, very well constructed vetiver fragrance. There's 4 different kinds of vetiver in here, and this fragrance takes you on a journey through all the different facets of vetiver, and that's something that I absolutely love about this, the journey that this fragrance takes you on. This fragrance was perfumed by Jorge Lee. He's done a phenomenal job, and actually he's perfumed, I would say, probably the majority, or maybe 70% of the Nishane fragrances. He's been the perfumer behind them, so he does amazing work. But yeah, Sultan Vetiver is a slap in the face of vetiver. So if your nose is not accustomed to the note of vetiver, this may not be your cup of tea. And I would say if you're someone who's just starting to get into the note of vetiver, I would say do not start with this one, because it may kind of give you a bad impression of vetiver. But for me, I absolutely love this one. Yeah, so for me, when I spray this on my skin, I almost get like a slight soapiness quality from that neroli, I think, is giving off that. This fragrance does have a slight freshness to it, but the vetiver in here also comes off as quite damp, earthy, green. And then in the dry down, you get a very, very subtle leather tone that starts to push forward. But man, this is such a gorgeous one, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Sultan Vetiver by Nishane. Next up, from the house of MFK, we have Grand Soir. Man, this is just such a simple, elegant, very professional, well-constructed amber fragrance. Man, so I just love this one. It's just ambery, vanillic goodness. It's a bit gooey and sticky as well. And when I wear this, I get some subtle kind of, I guess, chocolatey-like qualities from this, just very subtly. But it just makes the experience that much better. And I tend to really reach for this fragrance in the evenings, like if I'm going to a special event, or maybe it's just having an evening out. But I'll wear this fragrance when I'm a bit more dressed up, nothing less than a collared shirt. And I don't tend to wear this fragrance casually. It's just something, it's a bit more special. This fragrance is a special fragrance, and I tend to wear this on like a, more of a special occasion. But yeah, I love this one, and it's definitely one to check out from the brand. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Grand Soir by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Next up, from the house of Perris Monte Carlo, we have Rose de Taif Extrait. This is such a gorgeous rose fragrance. My image of this is if I'm laying in a bathtub full of Taif roses and someone cuts open a lemon and then just squeezes that lemon all over me. That's the vibe that I get here. It's just citrusy Taif rose that's just extremely refreshing, but at the same time, it's very kind of jammy and sticky, deep, rich, and just smells extremely opulent. And that's something that I absolutely love about this fragrance. It is a gorgeous one, and this fragrance really comes alive in the heat. If I wear this kind of late spring when those temperatures are kind of up, this pushes out extremely heavily, and the scent trail that this one leaves is absolutely gorgeous. Compliment getter for sure. it's a gorgeous one, and it's, you don't see a whole lot of people talking about this fragrance, or Paris Monte Carlo as a brand. You really don't hear a whole lot of people talking about them, but they have some amazing fragrances that you should definitely check out, especially their summer line that they have. Probably the most natural smelling citruses that I've ever smelled come from Paris Monte Carlo's summer lineup of fragrances are phenomenal. Definitely try to get your nose on them. But yeah, this is a stunner. Now this is the extra 8 version. They also have I think an eau de parfum version, which I've smelled before, but I actually haven't sampled on skin. But this is the version that just has so much depth and richness to it, and it's the version that I'm completely attracted to. But yeah, this is a stunner and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Rose de Taif Extrait by Paris Monte Carlo. Next up, from the house of Jovoy, we have Psychedelique. Man, so this one has to be the best patchouli fragrance in my humble opinion. Now, what I will say is, I don't have a whole lot of experience with patchouli, and patchouli is a note that really took me a lot of time to get accustomed to. When I first smelled patchouli, it was slightly off-putting, and it was a note that I felt like, I can never kind of get used to this. But over time, my nose became more and more accustomed to it, and I absolutely fell in love with the note of patchouli, and especially this fragrance. This is basically green, slightly dirty, earthy, ambery, rich, chocolate cakey type of patchouli that is absolutely gorgeous. There's also a slight booziness I get from this fragrance that I absolutely love. It just has so much depth and character to it that makes for just a phenomenal and just magical wearing experience that I just can't get enough of. It is that good. It's just a journey in a bottle, and that's something that I really, really enjoy about this one. So yeah, it's definitely one to check out from the brand. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Psychedelique by Jovoy. And finally, from the house of Penhaligons, we have Sartorial. Man, so this one is a masterpiece fougere fragrance. I'm a sucker for a good fougere, and this is definitely the best, or one of the best fougere fragrances. This is the best fougere fragrance that I have in my own personal collection. But yeah, I love this one. You get your typical fougere notes like lavender and oak moss, but you also have a bit of honey in here and some metallic notes that really help to set this one apart. And I think when Penhaligon's was creating this fragrance, they were trying to replicate the smells that you might get if you went to a tailor shop, like freshly pressed iron shirts, and they've matched that image perfectly in my humble opinion. This is a great one, and I really, really enjoy wearing this one in the fall when the temperatures have cooled down a little bit. This one is special. Man, just such a well done, just kind of fresh with a subtle sweetness to it that is just perfect. And one thing about Penhaligon's is they're kind of known for discontinuing fragrances rather quickly, but this one has stood the test of time. I mean, I think this has been around for 10 or 11 years now, and it's still going strong. I think it's one of their top sellers from the brand. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but since it has been around for such a long time, it must be doing well. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite from the house of Penhaligon's. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Sartorial by Penhaligon's. Alright guys, that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, and let me know down in the comments section, what fragrances do you have in your collection that you consider masterpieces? I'd love to hear about them. Alright, well, I hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.